Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is due to address the UN General Assembly in New York later today. Netanyahu has been highly critical of a growing number of UN members that have recognised a Palestinian state in protest over Israel's war in Gaza. On Thursday, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas gave his speech to the UN and accused Israel of war crimes in Gaza. He also rejected any future role for Hamas. Abbas delivered his remarks by a video link after the Trump administration revoked his visa to enter the United States.
Rescuers use jackhammers to reach bodies buried under rubble. Israeli airstrikes have flattened Al-Zawaida, a Palestinian town in central Gaza. Dozens killed in what the Israeli military itself had designated a safe zone. Children too are forced to join in, sifting through the wreckage.
This is forced displacement under bombardment. There is no life here, only bombing and extermination.
Israel has scaled up its air and ground assault on Gaza City. Hundreds of thousands are now fleeing to already overcrowded areas in the center and south. But even there, they cannot escape Israeli strikes.
Look here, all 7 members of a family wiped out, even this woman and her unborn baby.
The mounting civilian death toll has drawn condemnation worldwide. Some Western powers, including Britain and France, have now moved to recognize a Palestinian state. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas says he is ready for a resolution, insisting Gaza must be part of a Palestinian state under his leadership, not Hamas.
Hamas will have no role in governments, and it, along with other factions, must hand over its weapons to the Palestinian National Authority, within the framework of building the institutions of one state, one law, and one legitimate security force. We reiterate that we do not want an armed state.
But Israel's Prime Minister remains adamant, lashing out at those pushing for Palestinian statehood.
I condemn those who, instead of denouncing the murderers, rapists, and child burners, want to give them a state in the heart of the land of Israel. This will not happen.
Even under mounting diplomatic pressure, Israel shows no sign of slowing its offensive. And Gazans live under the hum of drones, never knowing when the next strike will fall.
All right, for more on this, let's go to Jerusalem and our correspondent Emily Gordine. Emily, what were the key takeaways from that speech from Mahmoud Abbas to the UN General Assembly?
Well, Abbas's core message really was that Palestinians will not leave in the face of Israel's actions in Gaza, which he condemned as war crimes and genocide, but also in the West Bank, where settler violence runs rampant and the de facto annexation of the territory is creeping along. But Abbas also, again, reiterated the Palestinian Authority's willingness to take over political control of Gaza. He's called on Hamas to lay down its weapons and also promised that Hamas would not have any say in governing a future post-war Gaza. Now, Hamas has already responded to these claims, saying that it would go against the Palestinian people's wishes, that Hamas is not involved in future governance in Gaza. It's unclear what Palestinians will want once that war is over. But Mahmoud Abbas went on to condemn the Hamas-led attacks on October 7th, saying that it doesn't represent the Palestinian people. Maybe also notable here is that President Mahmoud Abbas didn't criticize Donald Trump at all in his speech, even though it was the Trump administration that banned him essentially from coming to the UN and giving this speech in person. He was subsequently forced to do so via video link from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank.
So after Mahmoud Abbas, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu left for New York on Thursday amid another protest. What do we expect now from his speech at the UN later today?
That's right. Once again, hundreds of Israeli protested at Ben Gurion airport, demonstrating against Netanyahu and his government and for a deal to bring back the hostages. Now, Netanyahu, ahead of his departure, announced that he would denounce Western leaders for recognizing a Palestinian state. Israeli media certainly is reporting that the matter of a Palestinian state and the fact that so many Western countries, notably among them strong or long Israeli allies, have recognized such a state now, which many Israelis see as a reward for Hamas, essentially, even though Hamas de facto does not officially support a two-state solution. But the matter will also, not just at the UN, at the sidelines at the UN, it will also be a topic during a meeting that Netanyahu will have on Monday with Donald Trump.
Speaking of Donald Trump, he's surprised many observers with a pledge that he will not allow Israel to annex the occupied West Bank. How has that gone down in Israel?
Well, it could certainly spell trouble for Netanyahu's coalition government, many of which have promised to annex the occupied West Bank in 2025, so this year. But I think fundamentally many Israelis on the far right don't believe that the last word has been spoken on the matter. And even if the Trump administration is against the formal annexation of the West Bank, they don't believe that the Trump administration will implement sanctions if Israel continues to create what they call facts on the ground, and thereby the slow annexation of the West Bank, so the de facto annexation.
Emily Gordine in Jerusalem, thank you.